Hope everyone is doing well. The status is it is 2 degrees, so it's good. It's above zero. Anyway, status on these two bows. I went and I rounded this one. Let me set that one in the snow. Down, rounded it off, so it's got, you know, a bit of draw weight, but it's down. Cut down, and I hit this knot right here, which is not going to be an issue because it's going to be sinew backed. Doesn't affect the belly. And what I'm going to do is I've got some longer elk sinew, and I'm going to lay a layer of that over this section to reinforce that knot, pretend it's not there, and then go and sinew back the whole thing with tight bond 3. The elk will be also set down with tight bond 3. A good question I received was, can you reclaim the sinew if you use tight bond 3? Well, great question. No, it's a one-way trip for this material. The tight bond 3, not water soluble, so I can't soak it, and so it's a one-way trip. But the benefit is over hide glue would be good in a wet, humid environment, I believe. I mean, seen it done before. I've never done that, but we'll see. I'm going to subject it to like a watery torture test. The second one, I want to stress, I want you to embrace the idea, the theory, the philosophy of the evolution of bows, and also taking that evolution, how they are created and how they develop over time organically. And so if you remember, I had this, and people sharp of eye will notice it's a little more bend in here than here. Well, if you remember looking at that walnut longbow with the round belly, you'll notice that there was one side that was slightly more string followy than other, and that's why this isn't even. The first step, in the beginning, there were bows, D bows, and people that used the D bows found that they actually work, and they work well. People are still making D bows now. They'll throw an arrow. I want to do this so I don't lose it in the snow. Powerfully. Now, you notice that was a short draw. Typically, native styles, I'm not going to speak the Cherokee longbows, the long ones that were artillery bows. But if you get into the shorter bows, they must have been short draw, maybe to the chest, maybe just unanchored, maybe modified, but short draws. And I base this on the dimensions that you will see if you're looking at books that analyze relics. The Boyer's Bible, a nice one. There's other ones, like the Bows and Arrows of Native Americans, and then Jim Ham. Co-authored books, there's a lot out there. But when you look at the dimensions, you're looking at a lot of short bows, half an inch thick. Now, as you progress in your bow making abilities and you start studying a correlation between thicknesses and draw weights and draw lengths, you would be remiss if you didn't think or notice that a short bow that's a half an inch thick would have an incredibly high draw weight at, let's say, a much over 20-inch draw. It would have an incredible draw weight, and it would also be susceptible to breakage. And so these short bows that have been measured about a half an inch, you know, at middle end, they must have been short draw bows, as this one is. I scribed it, and I said 8 inches from the handle. I actually meant center that 8 inches or so on the handle. It's, you know, it's not a critical thing, but 3/4 of an inch, half an inch, and then about here, less than half an inch. It's a good starting point. And then I used my farrier's rasp, cinched it down, and this is the back. Took it and holding it at an angle this way on this top edge, worked down to the line, flipped it over to the same thing, and I've got a crown on the belly, and then just filed it flat. I don't try to get that finished thickness by just going like this, because you might dive into the line on the side that is unseen. And so I will do it in an angle, and then flatten. 3-part step. Then I get that, then I can sight down it, and using my rasp, getting a nice taper through here. Then you hit it with your tillering stick and refine it. On these, a lot of native style bows, again, had a lot of bend outward. They could be considered rather whippy. Anyway, in the beginning, you have a D bow. Use the heck out of it. And then people would notice after a period of time, it loses its oomph because of that string follow. It's like, what do you do? What do you do? So the next step in this evolution would be to heat this center section, steam it, dry heat, grease, whatever, and then bend the handle back into a gullwing. I just cured the problem of string follow. Oh. And I also noticed, because of the geometry, having limbs that are deflexed already, there seems to be this weird correlation that I've seen that for every inch of draw length added to the draw length, pardon my French here, that this gives you some benefit as far as the amount of bend, the bend radius, versus the draw length. So this is a nice system. And it also, from what I see, seems to help the bow survive, breakage. And so this not only fixes string follow, but the geometry gives you added benefits on top of that. So this is an amazing design. This is one reason why I like Gullwings. And so the next step, after I've used the heck out of this and decided this is a nice bow, I'm going to talk about walnut in a bit. I'm going to save it. I'm going to reflex the handle, gullwing it, use the heck out of it. There have been self-gullwings found. I mean, they weren't all sinew bad. After a while, you're going to lose the oomph again in your self-gullwing. It's like, voila. How they discovered to use a sinew, I don't know. But sinew back it, you have just jumped a quantum leap in technology and bow usability, provided you're not in a wet environment. Okay, walnut. Walnut is a very nice wood. If you've worked different woods, you notice that some have a more plasticky feeling. And walnut is like that. It's not as temperamental as a maple, where you're walking that fine edge between a usable bow and an explosion. Walnut is a very mellow bow wood. It's in my estimation, very balanced between tension and compression, which is a nice thing. It wouldn't be like a very tensile strength, high tensile strength on the back, and weak in compression, so it would be prone to string follow. If you follow good practices in tillering and design and going for reasonable draw weights, you'll find that walnut is a very, very nice bow wood. Now, as far as this adventure into the evolution of gullwing horse bows, walnut, black walnut, not English walnut, black walnut was used back in the day, and back in the day I refer to the actual people that were making horse bows and using them, along with white oak, and there were some horse bows made out of juniper and sinew-backed. I'm pretty sure hop hornbeam, probably serviceberry, a lot of woods that you would find. In Europe, most likely compression pine or other conifers. Now, we covered the evolution. I've repeated this so many times, but I think that how people progress from a tree to a final bow design is fascinating to me. And part of that is the evolution of these gullwing bows. I might be wrong, but I think in reality it's a very reasonable assumption to believe that these in sinew-backed followed the path from the simple D bow to a D bow that had string follow and was fixed to sinew backing them. is actually a really nice bow. If I was to hit it with a heat gun and get rid of that unevenness, this had a little more string follow in that long bow, and again, that's the only reason why there's more bend there. I could cure that because walnut is also a happy camper as far as heat treating the belly and getting back that reflex, or at least eliminating some of that string follow. It hardens nicely. It's beautiful wood again. And I did work this down from the heartwood. I bought a group of big staves from a fellow. I wish I remembered his name. This was years ago. And these staves are so big I could practice economy, making longbows, various longbows, by carefully deconstructing those big staves into small staves, which included heartwood staves, sapwood staves, and then just sapwood staves, and then they were wide enough I could get multiples out. And with that, I'm going to go back into the house. Wish you all a great day, great evening at this point. Thank you for watching, and maybe today is a little late. Tomorrow is a great day to start making bows.